She's going to give us all first lady in. I love it. Shauna, on the... She's coming in. Hello, Coach.
Hey, how are you?
Long time no see. You're doing well.
I'm doing great. Thanks for
Good,
having
good.
me.
How's the family?
They're doing good. Having a little 4-year-old around doing homeschooling and, you know, getting used to the new life of being at home.
That's got to be brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, not, don't get me wrong, it's got to be nice, but the schooling part, I know there's a lot of our friends who are parents of little ones and they're going, oh my goodness.
Yeah,
That's a challenge.
it is, it is. But amidst the storm, I've just tried to find the blessing in it truly, and that kind of getting to be the mom that I've wanted to be. We're on the road so much with traveling all over the world, and just being able to cook breakfast and do schoolwork and help her grow
Yeah.
has been really fun.
You see, that's why you're such a great coach. Because you're going, this is awesome. I can find this silver lining. This is so great. And
I'm trying.
that really is it. We are blessed. That's for sure. We are blessed. That's for sure. Coach, thanks so much for coming on today. I'm very happy that we can have this chat. But before we get going, I just want to preface where we're going with this, just so that everybody's on the same page who's tuning in. And I know there'll be a lot of people tuning in. So please, the last thing I want is for you or the university to run into trouble with the NCAA. And so if I ask you a question and you're not comfortable answering, or somebody asks a question that you're recruiting, you're not allowed to talk to that person. And so we're gonna dance around a couple of topics here. And if you tell me we're not going there, I'm fine with that. Okay?
No, yeah, for sure.
The last thing I would want is for anyone to get in trouble with the NCAA. But I know we can talk about some good stuff. We can talk about some good questions. Coach, how is this pandemic? Because I know it's turned everybody's world upside down, but it's really got to be messing with what you do and how you go about things. Give us an update.
Yeah, we had just come back actually from Hilton Head playing in the Darius Rucker, and we kind of knew things were changing a little bit. And we'd gotten a message, hey, we might need to think about flying private to Arizona to your next event. I was like, sweet, the pandemic's going to be great
Yeah.
for us. And then about 2 days later, it was like, hey, we're not going to be able to do anything. And then all of a sudden it was a quick, literally within 2 to 3 days, it was shut down. What do we need to do to make sure our student athletes are going to be safe and taken care of, and trying to put a really quick plan in place, because as you can see, college golf is very international now. So we have players on our team from Argentina, and just trying to figure out what their families wanted them to do. So most of our girls, went home. We have our South African. She's still here in Fayetteville. With things shut down, she's staying with one of our players who's local.
That's a good thing, because she wouldn't be able to go to the golf course or anything.
Yeah, so she's still here. We're just trying to figure out when maybe she can go back home and be safe. And from there, we've just put a plan together as a staff just to really connect. With school all being online, we're just trying to find ways to be creative, not only in how we connect with our players, but keep them engaged, but also how do you connect with recruits? And it's a totally different look right now. So we've assigned everybody on our staff, Mondays we do communication, how important it is to communicate effectively so we can be a better team. Tuesdays we do fitness, with Wednesday nutrition, and Thursdays Mike and I do a whole stat analysis that we send out, and we do a team Zoom call on Thursday afternoons, and Fridays is an academic checkup. So it's kind of our new form of practice. It's different for everybody, but, it seems to be working as well as it can be.
That's cool. And I know I was looking through your Instagram posts and all that, and I saw you checked in with all the great players on your team. I think it must have been in the last couple of days. And they're all chiming in on Zoom. I'm sure everybody's done a Zoom at some point over the last couple of weeks. It really is. It's, one of the many positives that are coming out of this is that ability to connect with friends and players and family from all over the world. And I know, speaking from my perspective, we've really touched base with, I've got family in South Africa and family in Europe, and we've had these great, happy hour get-togethers where we've got house party going, we've got WhatsApp going, we've got Zoom going, everything's going, and it really is kind of fun.
It is, it is what you make of it. So we did that reunion call, the 2018 SEC championship team. We did a big Zoom call and kind of relived that and recorded it and put it to footage. And it was actually, I was talking to our guy that does our sports information. We had like over 10,000 views of us reliving that moment as a team, and just, being able to see their faces, and, they're all, some are playing the tour, some of them are, on into their working careers, and just being able to reconnect has been really important for us.
Yeah, that's cool. That's great, Coach. And good job in mentoring and leading that push to stay connected and keep everybody kind of on your page, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. This is, it's tough on everybody. And, we have this kind of theme on our calls about being a light, and just really trying to, we have an alumni email we do every other day with quotes, and just trying to be a little bit of a refresher for everybody as we kind of roll through this as a group.
And so, Coach, what does recruiting look like for you? Is it a lot of FaceTimes? Is it a lot of Zooms, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so right now, it's a lot of Zoom, FaceTime calls. We're coming up with ways to do virtual tours. If you can't, June 15th is another big date for us where we can connect with the next recruiting class, your 2022 graduates. And, if they're not allowed to come to campus and we're not allowed to watch them compete, how can we show them what we have to offer, and tours of our facility, drone footages. Fortunately, we have a lot of cool stuff from the national championship we hosted last year. So just really trying to think ahead and how we can, I guess, recruit via computer.
Yeah. I suppose it's a little different in that you know how good the player is because you can look at their scores.
Right.
And you can speak to the player, and you can FaceTime and get a sense of who they are as a person. But it's hard for the player to get a sense of what the environment, what the campus, what the school is all about, I suppose.
I agree 100%. It's like getting the pulse of what it really feels like to walk on our campus, to be around our team, to hang out with Mike and myself, getting to really know us. I always say in recruiting that it's, as much as a prospect is looking at us, we're looking at them too, because we want good family members. We want people to come in here and who, want to help us not only win on the golf course, but win in, giving back to the community and doing really good in school, and just being more than just a golfer. And I think that's where, that face-to-face interaction is so important. And I really hope that we get back to a place where we can, have those relationship building moments that we can have together.
Yeah. And I will say this, Coach, I've been fortunate to go out and spend some time with you and your team out there. And not only are your facilities absolutely world-class, and they 100% are amazing, but the town of Fayetteville, the city of Fayetteville, the university is just second to none. It's really, it is eye-opening. It's so cool. And you're not too bad yourself, Coach.
Oh, thank you, Andrew. It's been fun to get to know you. And obviously, it's your relationships are what really matter right now. And it's, to be able to connect. And I've used this time a lot to, like you said, just connect with people, but also to grow my knowledge of coaching and teaching and leadership and all of that's been, a big part of my day every day. Yeah,
I would imagine. And so, Shauna, you've been in coaching for 18 years or so now. You've been in this game for a long time, and I think it's an interesting story as to really how and why you got into coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's not what most people think, but you are, not enough people know this, most probably like the greatest NCAA golfer of all time.
No way.
No, seriously. How many NCAA players have been first team All-American 4 years? I actually did a little bit of a search online earlier today, and I couldn't find any information pertaining to it. I think David Duval may have been, but you're one of the very, very few that I know of who are a 4-time first-team All-American, and that is something that is just to be a first-team All-American once. You've coached a few of them. That is super duper special, and to do that 4 years in a row, man, I'm glad I wasn't playing against you.
I'm just glad I'm not playing now.
Yeah, it's incredible. Actually, I had a nice discussion with Mark Crossfield yesterday where we were talking about how, Jack Nicklaus came along, in the guy's side. Jack Nicklaus comes along and he smashes it and he's dominant. And then almost, I think, due to coaching, this power game went away. And I always think of Nick Faldo is one back in the U.S. Open that Hale Irwin won when he ran around the green and he passed that long putt. Nick Faldo on the 18th hole at Medina hits 3-iron, 3-iron in an attempt to try to make birdie. And I would love to one day talk to Nick Faldo and say, Nick, if you knew then what you know now, statistics and just technology-wise, how often are you going to make a birdie hitting a 3-iron into a green? And you're just not. And so we had this era of golfers that were, I used the term earlier today, dinkers, or a better term is precision players. We had not really power golfers. They were all more precision. It's Tom Kite, it's Curtis Strange, it's Nick Faldo, it's Corey Pavin. And then along comes Tiger, and Tiger smashes it. And then all of a sudden we all go, oh, no, you got to hit it far. But we should have learned from Jack, and it kind of went away. And certainly when it comes to college golf, oh, my goodness, I see more of the boys than the girls. But I know this. You've coached many girls, particularly one of late that really, really smashes the golf ball. And Coach, I skipped over this. Before we go to that question, I do want you to explain how you got into coaching, because you obviously were a great player. You turned pro, you get out of college. Tell us.
Well, so I played at Georgia. I'm sorry to say it,
go Dogs. My son goes to Georgia, so I love Georgia.
So, I basically worked my whole junior college career around the fact that I was going to be a tour player and I was going to, play professional golf. And I always tell the story is I was going to, travel the world and win majors and live in big houses and drive fancy cars. And that was literally what drove me every single day when I was at Georgia to, get better and to be able to live that dream. So I turned professional when I graduated after having a really great career at Georgia, and started to struggle a little bit just with my golf game. And obviously, as you know, that impacts confidence. But to make a long story short, through that, I had an opportunity to kind of part-time get into coaching here at Arkansas. The head coach at the time was Kelly Hester, and she was my assistant coach when I was at Georgia. And so I took her up on the opportunity to come here. But in the process, I was actually diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. Yeah. So it pretty much ended my playing career. RA is an autoimmune disease that impacts the joints, and just the wear and tear of playing our sport on our joints, is not a good recipe to try and be a professional athlete and push yourself. So, I try to find the blessing in the diagnosis, and that it kind of allowed me to put to rest my playing career, and coaching was, honestly, I feel like I'm getting to live my purpose. Being able to impact young people's lives using golf as the vehicle to do that, and to be able to, in the game that I love and I care about, and I've worked since I was a little kid to play, and my experiences, and just try and throw it all in and lead young women to obviously accomplish our team goals, but their personal goals, because not everybody wants to be a professional golfer. So, you know, that's kind of my coaching philosophy is it's real holistic. It's not, you know, let's make sure you have a perfect golf swing. It's, you know, I used to work with a sports psychologist. You have to have all facets of your life in order to play great golf. And, you know, as much as we may look good technically, you know, it's a lot to do with what's up here and the confidence that we have and the things, you know, how we're wired. So I've just tried to use my experiences to pour into coaching and help young women. So even though I was diagnosed with RA when I was, you know, 24 years old, I feel like everything kind of happens for a reason. And I couldn't be happier being a college golf coach and being able to do this every single day.
And I must say, that's the sense I get from you is you love what you're doing. You just relish the opportunity each and every day. Talk to us a little bit about some of the superstars that you've had the opportunity to work with, because you really have had some superstars come through your university, and give us some insight as to who they are and what they're doing now.
Yeah, you know, it's been recruiting is, you know, the oxygen to your program. And I always say we get lucky. You know, you look at a Stacy Lewis, who was maybe third or fourth best player on our high school team, commits to come to Arkansas when I was an assistant coach. And through that, he calls us one day. She has to have scoliosis surgery. We stay committed to our commitment to her. And she comes in, and I always say this, she put Arkansas women's golf on the map. She was, you know, definitely one of those diamonds in the rough. You know, we get lucky sometimes, but, you know, I was able to build a really close relationship with Stacy, a lot to do with, you know, she was post-surgery. Hey, Shauna, you go chip with her, putt with her, and so our friendship sort of grew from, you know, we were always spending a lot of time together. And then obviously she has an unbelievable college career, multiple winner, All-American, national champion. And then her, you know, her LPGA tour resume speaks for itself, you know, two-time major winner. And I've really been fortunate to have a front row seat to that. And, you know, we talk weekly, you know, connect. Now we both have little girls, and you know, I was at the British at St. Andrews when she won. I mean, just, I've been so lucky to be able to watch Stacy have such a tremendous impact on the game. So that's obviously she kind of got our ball rolling with tour players. And then from there, you know, we've had a Gabby Lopez, a two-time winner on the tour. That's kind of how I got connected with Mexico. She came here on to play in a junior event, and she's special. She's super talented. Nothing real flashy, but she's one of those, you know, doesn't rip it, but is very smart. She's very intelligent on the golf course, has a extremely intensity for winning, loves to compete. And then you have, you know, we have players like Alana Urel. She's a rookie last year, kind of flew under the radar. Nobody really knows about, but an incredible player. I mean, just unbelievable what she's, you know, been able to do with her background and where she's come from. And then, you know, probably the most recent is Maria Fossey. Everybody likes to talk about her. Just a different style. That kid is an old soul, grew up in a highly competitive soccer family background, is a freak athlete. I mean, moves it. I mean, she rips it. So she plays a little bit different game. I would say Gabby and Stacy are more strategic, more about, you know, get me in the fairway. I will outthink you more so than I will outpower you. And then Maria Fossey, sometimes you just got to let it rip. And I mean, we'll just take our chances. And, you know, I have a cool story about her. We were at NCAA regionals, and every day I'd let her go for this par 4 over water. And first in the practice round, she hits it to a foot. I'm like, oh, here we go. You know, hits it to a foot with a driver. That's the death sentence of course management stuff. And so the next day she hits driver again, makes bogey. Next day she hits driver again, makes bogey. And then the last day she's in contention to win. And I go in the middle of the fairway and say, stop. You can't do this. So I made her lay up. And so sometimes you have to reel in those long hitters, but she, you know, ended up winning the regionals. But it's teaching her how to use her distance and be really smart with it is important.
And I would think, because just listening to the difference between the first couple of players you spoke about and then Maria is you get that on your team a lot. You get that athlete bomber, just wants to smash it, and then you get perhaps typically a smaller athlete, and they're super smart, they're super diligent, they never late, they do everything right, they've got their yardage book and keep their stats, and they're just like perfect, and they might produce the same level of performance, but it's just these two really different players, hey?
Yeah, and you and I talked about this a little bit, but I've evolved so much as a coach because I think, and I have this quote in my office that says, you have to read your people to lead your people. And just really kind of knowing the wiring behind each person, because you can't coach Maria like you coach Stacy. You can't coach Gabby like you coach Maria. I mean, it's really important to get to know them and know what they're capable of doing. I would I should say, when we're competing, we can walk with our players, and I would let Maria Fossey do some crazy stuff that I'm like, nobody, I'd like pitch it out. But she was able to do things with the golf ball that were just so elite and so, I mean, special that you wanted to let the racehorse run if you could.
Yeah. I could see that. That would be, and I'm sure as you've worked your way up to 18 years, that experience and that wisdom and your ability to read your people has improved a tremendous amount, eh?
Yeah, I think when I first started, I really tried to make everybody be like myself. And I was very, I wasn't technically great, but I was a great thinker. I was a great manager of the golf course. I had an incredible short game. So I kind of tried to put everybody into that kind of mold, if you will. And what I've just learned that, I've had to be flexible. I've had to listen. I've had to just try and get to know people more than, just as a golfer, so that I can, we've started doing personality tests just so we can relate better and we can understand, ways that we can effectively communicate with them, and just being really open to change and evolving so that, I can be the best version of myself and try and get the most out of my team.
And there's this big debate in golf, the rollback. Okay, we got to slow things down, and players are hitting the ball too far. And the old schoolers will go, well, they're not better athletes. And I would say no, because human DNA and genetics hasn't changed. The athletes are just as good. But when you're tapping into personality tests, and we've got statistics and we've got technology and training. I know when I was in college, we had a highly competitive Division I program. And the one day our coach said to us, okay, boys, we're going to go and work out today. Meet me at the track at this time. And we got there was an athletic track on campus, and we ran around the track twice. And the coach said, right, let's do it again next week. And that was it for 4 years. And now I know you've got this like 6 a.m. show up. You got a special dedicated trainer, and everyone's going through their thing. Essentially, the information we have available to us today, the technology we have available, is when you input that into a passionate, highly motivated, talented individual, has got to produce just ultimately, whether we've got that smaller, more intellectual golfer or that bigger, athletic, wilder personality golfer, it's got to make both of them better.
Absolutely. I think back to when I played versus now, and I will say this, the young ladies that have come through our program who've been most successful have used all of their resources. Now we have, you have strength coaches that are obviously golf trained. You have nutritionists that, we have a dining hall just for student athletes where there's no soda, there's no desserts. I mean, it's crazy the access to resources that are available. I don't know if I would have been a better player. I still think there are some downfalls to all of the information, but I think, if you have somebody that's able to use them properly, you're creating a machine, and it's pretty incredible to watch. And I just think the what's available, tracking your sleep to see if you're recovered.
So much.
It's technology has definitely advanced our sport in an incredible way.
Yeah. Coach, what role, and I know this is old news when it comes to college golf, is statistics and tracking of statistics when it comes to playing golf and strengths and weaknesses. How do you integrate that into the way a player practices and the way you interact with the player?
Oh, it's, you know, we have a hard time getting them to do their stats, first of all, but outside, once we get them to give us the data, Mike and I spend a lot of our time analyzing it. And, you know, from there, what we do is we, you know, after an event, for example, we'll say, hey, we'll sit down and look at your statistics, and then we'll try and create practices around those statistics, because, you know, everybody likes to just rake and hit and go hit golf balls. But, you know, I always say, when's the last time you hit some bunker shots, or you know, you have to be a complete player. And I think statistics have been very helpful when you have a group of people and you're trying to move in a direction, just to educate them and show them where, you know, you can keep hitting balls. But if you would just do, you know, lag putting or go out on the golf course, and let's do strategy stuff. I mean, this is how we can save more shots by the way we practice. And, you know, in college golf, we don't get 8 hours a day. We have to be really efficient. We have to be, you know, we have to be very calculated in our hours, so that we get the most out of the time that we have together.
Yeah. I think it's for any golfer watching, or any coach, certainly a golf coach watching, I think it's such low-hanging fruit. It really, it's easy stuff. It's available to us. It takes a little bit of effort, I know, for your players to fill out those sheets at the end of each round and that kind of stuff. But if I can convince some of my students, and you certainly have a better chance at convincing your students to jump into that statistics pool, once they start to see the pluses of it, it's a no-brainer. It really is something that can save a tremendous amount of strokes for people.
It is. And, you know, you have players that don't like numbers, or they don't, but so you just try and find creative ways to go, hey, like, we can gain half a shot here, and you're working on something that, I mean, we may just stay the same. Like, we just have to, you know, pointing those things out is really, you know, here's a good one for you. So if we miss the green into a hole, it takes us 2.55 strokes to play out. So we're making bogey a lot, right?
Half the time.
But half the time. So if we just, because we'd like to fire at flag sticks, I call it laser lazy. We just shoot it, rip it at the hole, and, you know, if we're short-sighted, we make bogey for sure. But
laser
if we could
lazy,
just,
I like that.
if we could just teach, if we could just teach them, you know, we're much better from 30 to 40 feet in lag putting. We're at 2.2 shots. I mean, in that, just picking a better target alone, we are saving strokes. And you do that times 5 people times 3 days. I mean, that's a lot of shots. I mean, it's pretty amazing that, you know, but we like to fire at flag sticks. And sometimes, you know, when you have water left and it's 5 off the left and you hit a hook, I mean, you got to be careful.
Yeah. Golfers, and you don't have to deal with this as much because you have women on your team. But especially guys, we tend to think that we're a lot better than what we really are. And that can be certainly a big challenge. I know it's a challenge for you. I'll never forget, we did an interesting exercise when I came out there, because I think the primary objective of getting me out there was to start to learn and understand Trackman. This was quite a while ago. And so I couldn't teach each individual lady on your team, but I could watch them hit shots, and then they would go away and I would say, okay, Shauna, okay, Mike, this is what I see. And it was so interesting to me because I didn't know the girls whatsoever, but I got to see their swings. I got to see their numbers. I got to see them hit. And I'll never forget, at the end of the day, there must have been 10 or 12 women that had hit. And I went, wow, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those were the 4 best. And it was almost as if I was completely wrong. Just in looking at the swing and the prettiness of it and the tightness of the numbers. There was one girl, I forget her name, but she was just like this bulldog. And she really did some great work for you. And she had this unusual looking golf swing. She had weird numbers on Trackman. And I went, oh, she can't be that good. And I kept watching for the rest of the year. And she was like number 1 or 2 player the whole way. And so it really just goes to show that there is so much more than just Trackman numbers and the look of a golf swing. It's about heart. It's about knowing how to play, decision making, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Mike and I talk about it all the time. You could line up our 8 girls on the range, and like you said, you just, you can't. It's hard for you to pick. Like if you looked on, like you're saying, Trackman numbers and golf swings, it's just, it's not predictable. You got to know what's in the heart. And I think that's a lot to do with it. That's why, we talked about it earlier with the recruiting. Like it's really important that I build a relationship, because you get to know somebody's insides. And I think that's a lot of times, what makes the elite golfer is, the way they think. And, it's a lot of the extras, not so much always from the technical piece.
Totally. And that's one of the big takeaways I've had from this series of lockdown learning is everybody's different. You've got to be authentic, but it's more than just technique. You've got to have this holistic approach to getting better. And it's so much more than just shallowing the club and getting your wrist angle in this position. That might help for a while, but it's still going to come down to who you are as a person, the decisions you make, what's in your heart, and how bold and brave and sensible you are out on the golf course.
Well, I think to add to that too, Andrew, maybe someone's not physically capable of putting the golf club in a certain position. And, that's why, in the system that we have in college golf, you have a lot of accessibility to look at that stuff. And, we have a young lady in our team currently. We've got to get some more flexibility in the upper body, because she can't get the golf club in the right position that it needs to be in to be able to, do what she wants to do. So it becomes more of, extra training outside of just, the technical piece of the golf course. It's been a lot of gym work that is really vital for that to really happen and really make a good transformation.
Yeah. Holistic. You got to look at everything. Got to look at the whole
Yeah,
thing.
you do.
Coach, so I love to ask college golf coaches this question, and it's, if you were out watching a recruit, they're playing a tournament, they're playing 18 holes, what would be the ideal thing you're looking for? And it's not for them to shoot 61, because you could look at that online and see them shoot 61. What really are you looking for during the course of that 9 holes or that 18 holes? I know it's hard to watch someone play 18 holes. It takes too much time. You got other students to see or recruits to see.
Yeah, there's a lot of things we look for. To get me to really turn my head, if I see speed, I'm like, wow, like that's unbelievable.
Okay.
In girls, and we can create speed over time, but if you already have it, that's really something fun to watch, first of all. Second of all, fundamentals. Do they have, I'm not afraid to teach. I'm not afraid to, help somebody move something technically. Mike and I think we do a pretty good job of that. So I'm not afraid of, a funky move. I love to see just post-shot responses. I love to see, pre-shot routines. I love to see kind of your short game, if you have variety. I love adversity. I'd rather watch you shoot 82 than 69, because when we shoot 69, we're all smiling, right? Yeah. So, I love like the bounce back. If you make a double, what does that next hole look like? Emotionally, are you stable? You do during a round of golf, or, that kind of stuff. It's a lot more than just the number or the ranking. It's really, have you played your best golf yet? What tools can we, as your coach, what could we equip you with that would help you elevate your game even more? So it's a really a huge recipe that we look at, and it's not just a golf score. It's how do you treat your parents? How do you treat the volunteers? How do you walk? Are you walking standing tall? Are you pissed and mad that you can't get over it? Is it a train of bogeys in a row because of some errors? Because in our sport, perfection is the thing that takes a lot of us out, right? to strive for that is what we want to do, but we're going to make mistakes, and we're going to tell the team all the time, we're going to hit a ball in the water. Like, it's coming. So just be prepared for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just really looking at all of that stuff, you know, to add to that too. I mean, even not watching a golf round, but social media, like, how are you, I mean, what does your social media look like? Are you using a bunch of nasty languages and a bunch of parties? I mean, I just, you know, you're not only coming to the University of Arkansas, but you're representing more than yourself when you do. So are you a good person? Are you a good student? All of those things matter. And, you know, again, it's more than, somebody asked me about rankings. I don't know what people are ranked. I just know what I like. And I know what I think will make a good fit for our program. And I'm not afraid to help a kid grow and get better at golf. And, you know, Stacy Lewis, I mean, she's a perfect example, had maybe 3 scholarship offers to Arkansas, Memphis, and someplace else. And I mean, who would have thought? I mean, but the way that kid thought, and her work ethic and her passion and love for the game was a tremendous separator. I mean, you know, you line her up, you'd have never picked her. But if you got to know her, she wanted to be great. And I think that's, you know, that's just as important as what that ranking shows is, you know, your love for the game, your willingness to, you know, be vulnerable and authentic. And I think it's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, and I deal with so many well, not so many, but quite a few young golfers. And they go, oh, I'm nervous because this coach is coming out to watch me play. And the message, that is just pure gold that you've shared there for junior golfers. I think every single junior golfer, and I'm going to push this video big time to junior golfers, because they've got to watch that, because they think, I've got to play well. No, just be you, go and play, try your best. Know you're going to hit some good ones. Know you're going to hit some bad ones. And just, you can't change who you are. Don't try to be something you're not, because that's not going to work out either. You're not a very good version of somebody else. And so just be you and relax as best you can. I can still remember the first shot I hit in front of my college coach. I was there already. I was playing already, but he had never seen me play. And I hit that shot, and I was really nervous. And just knowing what you've just said, it goes so far beyond the shot you're going to hit, the score you're going to shoot on that particular day. I've often said to students, go out, you have a bad day, I think that's a plus. It's how you handle and deal with the adversity that's going to make the difference. You have a tremendous opportunity if you play poorly. If you're playing well, it's easy to be happy. It's easy to be nice. It's easy
I
to
love
be
shooting
kind
69.
to your mom. To your mom who's carrying your umbrella and your rain suit and your water and your lunch and everything. It's easy to be nice to everybody. And so what happens when things get off the tracks, and how do you deal with that, I think is a bigger opportunity for young players when they're being watched by a coach.
I think to add to that too, Andrew, you think back to the Augusta National Women's Amateur that happened with Maria Fassi, and, you know, how she responded to losing to Jennifer Kupcho was so, it went miles in what she's doing now. And people really got to see, that was hard for her. That kid loves to win. And to have to put on a tough face and be a gracious loser, if you will, I think said more about Maria Fassi than her actually being in that final group with an opportunity to win. I think that's what people need to recognize. It's more of your response to when it's not going so well is really important. And it's what we as college coaches, I know for us, is really what we look at.
I can so see that and relate to that. I think it's an awesome message that you're coaching the person, the human being, and not just, I need you to be a better golfer. I need you to be a better person. Because if you do that, chances are your golf will improve too.
Absolutely. And we've seen a lot lately, a lot of, the freshmen and the younger kids and the ones we're recruiting are, that their identity is in their golf score. It's like, my name is 82 or my name is 75. And it's like, no, you're Sally, be Sally and own Sally. And you're not a golf scorer. You're an awesome human being. And we're all going to fail sometime at this game and hit bad golf shots and shoot 80 and, shoot 70. It's you are who you are, and just really owning that. And we all know we all make mistakes. We're all going to mess up, and just really owning it and knowing that, it's going to happen, and it's all about how you respond to it. But just like this whole thing we're going through, this pandemic, I mean, it stinks. It sucks. I want to be outside, and I want to go to the golf course. I want to go recruiting. I want to go work. But, this is the hand we're dealt. We have to make the best of it.
Exactly. That's all we got.
That's all we got.
Coach, back in the old days when things were normal, what did a regular week, let's just forget a week, a regular day look like? Let's just say there's no tournament this upcoming weekend. It's a Wednesday. Start me at 6 a.m. in the morning. What is a regular day at school on campus? No tournament coming up in the next couple of days. What does that look like typically for your college golf team?
So we do a 6:15 workout in the morning. So we go 6:15
Let everyone sleep in till 6:15.
Yeah, I know. 15 minutes. 6:15 to 7:30 is training in the gym. And then from there, a lot of them have 8 a.m. classes. So they'll go to school, 8 to 11:30, grab some lunch. We'll start practice 1:30 or 2 o'clock. Okay. We'll go till, if we play, in college golf, it takes 3 hours of your time, 18 holes when we have to report it. So we'll either play or practice, depending on, obviously if we need to qualify for a tournament, or, do we need to work, do drills and have, some block practicing or whatever, but we'll have everything, or they'll get to the golf course. We'll do our practice. A lot of them, we try and set it up. If we're doing drills, we'll set it up so we know that it only takes about 3 hours or 2.5 hours.
Okay.
So they'll be done. And then a lot of them afterwards like to work on, what they have, they feel like they need to work on. Maybe some of them will go play a couple holes, and then they leave, they go grab dinner, and then they go to study hall, and then they go to bed and get back up and do it again the next day. So
do it again.
Yeah, it's a lot. I think probably the hardest transition for people is the demand on your time. You think about when you're at home, your mom does your laundry and cooks your dinner. Well, now that all becomes a part of your day. And that's where, I think a lot of freshmen get overwhelmed, because it is a lot. It's a lot. It's really about being efficient with your time. And, it's great to stay at the golf course for a long time, but then that takes away from your ability to recover and do those things. So it's a lot. It's a big transition, but it takes about a semester to really get in the groove of it.
Yeah. You said something earlier. You said we got to be efficient with our time, and it sounds like certainly with you and Mike running the show and kind of setting up each practice and each day, I think you guys would do a great job with that. I love to find out about qualifying, because I will say this. If I was a college golf coach, I would absolutely drive my team insane with qualifying, because I would intentionally change it all the time. And I would go, yeah, you're just qualifying this week. I don't know, how many spots are locked up. You're qualifying, and I'll take some people. I would want to keep them so on their toes, and they would hate that. I know from experience that college golfers hate it when they don't know the deal from their coach, but I don't feel they should have to know. What's your take and your philosophy when it comes to qualifying?
You'd probably be at the AD's office.
These parents are calling.
What the heck? Well, I really try and be as fair and as transparent as I can be. Okay. And I think that's the key is, that you have to do that. So we'll do, play 5 rounds of golf, take the low 5 scores. Okay. And then once we go to an event and we get some competitive, I think competition golf means more to me than playing the local country club. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's the thing is, that's the important thing. So we'll, let's say we go and, Sally wins the golf tournament. I would exempt Sally, because I think that says a lot about her ability to compete. And so I would give her an exemption. We'd come home and play for 4 more spots. So it really is, you know, you kind of have to be upfront. You have to communicate well. You have to, you know, we're going to get rounds in. We're always going to create opportunities for, you know, the girls at home to get back in the lineup. So you have to have a fairness. But I also tell them, you know, it's, you know, we got to put the best 5 people on the bus. And that's at the end of the day, that's what I'm hired to do, is to give ourselves the best chance to win. So, you know, that's where,
your way. Have you got a visitor? I hear
a little
visitor.
Here we go.
You're way nicer than me, Coach. You're way nicer than me. You're all up.
I get a lot of gray hair on qualifying because it's you know, you try and I care about all of my players and I want to be fair but I'm also competitive. I love to win, and you know, at the end of the day, I have to have hard conversations sometimes, and you know, it's not always fun, but you know, it is. Great golf takes care of all your problems.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, shoot a low score and happy days are there.
Yeah,
that really is true. It's qualifying is a tough one. I think I've never seen the set formula that all coaches adopt. It seems like each coach has got their own, and they like to do it their way, and players go crazy about qualifying.
And I think too, as coaches, we see them every single day. We know their insides. We know the way they think, and not always does the 5 that I think are most prepared get to go. And sometimes you have to make hard decisions. If somebody's not in a good headspace and if they're struggling, I mean, you gotta be able to factor those things in, and you want to make good decisions that ultimately at the end of the day is best for the group. And not what's best for one individual. And I think that's really something I've tried to live by. And we've left Fayetteville many times with what I would consider not our best 5, but it was the right thing to do in the right time. And over time, it's paid dividends, being really consistent, being really fair, really trying to, do what's right in the moment for the group is at the end of the day at the forefront of our decisions.
Mm. Coach, do you play in any events where you're allowed to bring an individual?
We do some. When you start getting, like the Annika intercollegiate, it's really, dry. You can't take any individuals. So, depending on the event, you always, hey, I accept. I'd love to come. Can we bring an individual? I think that's, we always are trying to find opportunities to compete for everybody. You have 8, 9 girls on your team and only 5 travel. So it's hard on those that have to stay behind. And, we try and do a good job of leaving practices that are really specific to them and areas that they need to work on. And, even the girls at home, they have to give us feedback every day on things we've asked them to do so that they are staying engaged.
That's cool. That's cool. And have you run into a situation? I would think as a coach, it'd be hard when you bring that individual to a tournament and the individual wins the tournament or something. I mean, I know it's okay. She can come on.
I know it's being mommy and having her be quiet for a while is tough.
It would be hard if have you had a situation where your 6th player who's not counting for your team has really played great?
Oh yeah. We've had an individual win before.
Really?
100%. I mean, that's tough, but that's the sport we play. You miss the cut one week, you win the major next week. So I mean, it is what it is, and you give those kids. Gabby Lopez, first semester, we take her as an individual, and she ends up finishing 2nd. I mean, it was. You're like, dang, that'd have been nice to have in the lineup. We don't want as a team, but I mean, it just. It is what it is, and that's as long as they're getting to compete and learn and grow, I think there's no better teacher than competition.
Yeah, Coach, what do you when it comes to the fitness speed side of things? What do you work directly on speed with your players?
We do. We we brought in someone to help our strength coach too. So we've been able to implement some of that stuff. We do some speed chains in our workouts. We, obviously we have speed sticks. We're doing a lot of stuff like that to help create speed. We're lucky. I love length, and it's probably we talked about factors in recruiting. I mean, if you can move it, I can teach you how to use it, and that's it makes my head turn when I see somebody hit it far, and I think that's in our sport. I mean, we had a 5'2" Kaylee Benton on our team last year who was the most efficient kid and could absolutely move it, and people were shocked at how far she could hit it, and just to be a little nugget, but she was efficient. She worked on speed. I mean, she was really working in the right areas to allow her to get a lot out of what she had.
Yeah. What are the biggest gains you've seen pertaining to speed from when a player arrives to? I don't need exact numbers, just to get an idea.
I would say I've seen a high, like 88, 89 miles an hour with a driver to almost like 97, 98. So 10 miles an hour. It's a lot.
That's big.
I mean, it's big, and it takes time, but if you train and you really work at it, I mean, Maria Fossa, you're not going to move much. I mean, that kid is just born with, I mean, she just moves it. And, but over time,
what's her club speed, Shauna? Ballpark.
She's about 110.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she smokes it, and it's amazing. She can hit little shots. Like if you tell her, I need you to hit a pitching wedge 120, no problem. Like she has incredible feel. She just sometimes the number doesn't match up to what she wants to hit, but she just feels it, and it's really cool to see. She'll be hitting a grip down 7-iron from 155 when it goes 175. And she just like, that's what I need to hit. And it's, that's where she's very unique in that ability. She has this crazy intuition on golf shots.
Yeah. That's neat. Coach, when you're on the road, you're at a tournament, do you have much influence as to nutrition, hydration, that kind of stuff with your team?
We've started wearing whoop bands the last 2 years. I don't see the recovery numbers. I don't see do. It might be best to try and go to bed a little earlier. So we've added some stuff like that. I don't know that it helps a lot. I don't know that we change a lot off of that data, but we just really try and eat well. Fortunately for girls, for the most part, they're pretty conscious about what they eat. So, we're always trying to go to places that, they can get, what they need to fuel well. And then just for me, it's a lot of like just rest and recovery. No, we hadn't been to Taco Bell in a while, but, we just really try and provide them great nutrition. When I was at Georgia, we'd play bad. Beans would drop us off at the McDonald's with $50 and say, I'll be back in an hour. And if we did that today, I would be in a lot of trouble. But you just try and we go to the grocery store and we tell everybody, go get what you need to fuel properly on the golf course. That kind of stuff. And it's been very helpful. So they have what they need, what they feel comfortable with. And then from there, just making sure that the rest and recovery is huge. We do stuff at night to help them. So it's, it's just a part of, it's crazy all the stuff we carry with us.
Yeah. I would think so. You stop off at a Whole Foods and just clean out a bunch of all that good stuff, I would think.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Shauna, I've got to ask you one more question. What is the funniest story that you can tell that's occurred with the team, to the team, on some tournament, on a trip? What's the craziest thing that you've had happen?
Funny you say this. Is our last tournament, we're going from Hilton Head to Savannah to the airport.
Yeah.
And Mike we have two minivans, so he's coming up on the left. I'm real competitive. I'm like, he's not passing us. So I kind of gas the minivan, and then we're going over a bridge, and the car completely shuts off. Our car completely shuts off. The girls are freaking out. We're about an hour and a half from taking off. So our van we pull over on the side of the road. I mean, it's not funny, but the girls, they put it on, social media. Look at Coach trying to run down the side of the road to get us out of trouble. And it's the craziness of now what social media has done. I've gotten pulled over and they like to put it on Instagram. And I mean, they're always coming up with tricks and stuff to pull on each other. And and honestly, the experiences I've had as a college golf coach have, obviously winning is fun, but the relationships and the times that you have together are just so special and fun that it's really a blast to get to do what I get to do.
Yeah, it's true. I have so many great memories from college golf. I loved college golf. It was my favorite form of competitive golf I played in. And one memory we had was we had a guy from England who could whistle. He could whistle like a police car.
No way.
Oh, yeah. So he's in the back, and our coach is like breaking his neck. He's looking around. He's like, what is, he thought he was getting pulled over like 5 times a trip.
Oh, they're a bunch of pranksters. There's no question about it.
Yeah. College golf is fantastic. But Coach, I really do appreciate you sharing. This was so cool. Thank you for doing it. Thank you so much for doing it.
Thank you for calling me. And I've loved watching your lockdown learning, and I've grown a lot as a coach through what you're doing as well.
Thank you. I hope that continues to happen. And really, the message here for any young golfer, any old golfer, any golf coach is the cool thing I hear from you is you're tapping into every single possible little droplet that could help your team grow, that could help your team as individuals play better golf and be better people. And so I love that. That's a great message. Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think that's right. It's about, you're more than a golfer. And that's my job as a coach, is to help them excel, because 10% of the people that walk in our door make it on the tour, and 100% of them have the goal coming in. So you got 90% of the young women who come through our program that are going to do something other than play on the LPGA tour. So you want to make sure they have a plan and that they're ready and equipped to tackle the world.
Coach, you're the best. Keep being the best.
Thank you.
Say hi to Mike and give that little girl a big love.
Well, I will for sure. Thanks, Andrew, for having me on.
Thanks, Shauna. Take care.
All right. See you, buddy. Thank you. Bye.